The Sox got some deals done today. There also may be a bigger deal on the horizon. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Red Sea Radio. My name is Corbin, and in today's video, we're breaking down the latest Red Sox contract news, talking about all the latest with their arbitration players. We're also going to be talking about what could be coming for one of the bigger fish the Red Sox need to fry. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one. Let's get into it. Okay, so for those of you who don't know why this video is coming out a whole lot later than my normal videos do, today was sort of the arbitration deadline for major league teams. At 1 p.m. Eastern time, teams either had to sign a player to a one-year contract or they were going to go to arbitration. Teams generally don't like doing that. Honestly, if you can avoid it at all costs, you probably are going to try to, because things can get kind of messy when you nickel and dime players and bring them to arbitration. Things tend to break down relationships wise, and we tend to end up seeing guys who aren't super happy with their arbitration process either leaving in free agency or being traded within that same time frame. So it's a real important day for baseball in general and for the Red Sox specifically, because they had four really key players in this arbitration process. The first of which was Tanner Houck, and the Red Sox were successful at signing Tanner Houck to a one-year deal to avoid this arbitration. The official value is $3.95 million, which was actually pretty well below what he was originally projected to sign for, which I think is kind of fascinating. The original predicted value was $4.5 million, so you're basically $500,000 below what was projected. Now, sometimes these kind of deals can be sort of a stepping stone to a longer term contract, and I actually think that's a really fascinating conversation with Tanner Houck, because we haven't really totally dove into the idea of extending Houck on this channel, at least over the last few months. And I think it's a really interesting concept. Tanner Houck is still under arbitration for a few more years. He won't be a free agent until 2028. So you got at least 3 more seasons with him in the Red Sox organization. He is going to be 31 by the time he hits free agency, so there shouldn't be a total necessity to sign Tanner Houck to a long-term deal, but I also don't think it's a bad idea either. Something like a 3 or 4 or 5 year deal that buys out the rest of his arbitration, gives you a little bit of his free agency years, right? Someone you could put into this rotation for a longer period of time, I don't think is that big of a problem at all. I am curious how this arbitration affects that kind of conversations. We haven't heard anything this year about any sort of extension on Tanner Houck. What we did hear about was last year the Red Sox were interested in an extension. They couldn't get one done. I'm curious if conversations continue to pick up. Again, this normally happens usually after the arbitration process or after they sign a pre-arb deal, which is exactly what happened in this scenario, and then the ball starts to get rolling. Again, there's been no real information as to where the Red Sox stand in terms of an extension with Tanner Houck, so I wouldn't take too much stock into there being an extension on the horizon with him. I just thought it was kind of an interesting conversation. So let me know in the comments below, would you give Tanner Houck an extension? If so, what would your kind of terms for that extension look like? However, another pitcher that the Red Sox just acquired that is a big part of their offseason so far is a little bit different when it comes to extension conversations, and that's Garrett Crochet, because not only today was it announced that the Red Sox and Garrett Crochet reached an agreement on a 1-year, $3.8 million deal to avoid arbitration, but the bigger news actually happened last night, and that was it was revealed or confirmed that the Red Sox and Garrett Crochet's camp have started their conversations about signing him long term. In my opinion, this is big news. Now, according to this article by Chris Cotillo, we don't entirely know how close the sides are. All we know is that the dialogue has started, and this is, in my opinion, fantastic. It's a necessity. One, because if the Red Sox aren't going to go all out on free agents and bring those guys in, and they're going to more so acquire their talent in terms of young tradable assets, fine, but you need to ensure that those young tradable assets are with this team for as long as humanly possible, and I think that's exactly what we needed to see in this Garrett Crochet stuff. Now, I will say, a lot of people were saying this needed to get done, right? I think everyone was saying this needed to get done. You gave up a massive haul for Garrett Crochet. A lot of your top talent went towards acquiring this guy. To have him for only 2 years and then have him leave during free agency, especially because his free agency years will be kind of the prime of his career, would felt like a waste of assets, even if you performed well in the 2 years that you had him. So there was a big discussion as to whether or not this trade was worth it without an extension. Hopefully, we don't need to hear that conversation anymore, and hopefully the Red Sox can get something done. Again, we don't really know exactly where along the process the Red Sox are in terms of extending Garrett Crochet. What I will say is I do find it fascinating that unlike Tanner Houck, who was paid below what he was predicted to get in arbitration, Garrett Crochet was actually paid pretty well above it. He was predicted to get $2.9 million arbitration this year, so he's making almost $1 million more than last season. Now, normally, this wouldn't be too crazy, but when you take it in combination with the report that we got last night, I don't know, maybe this is them sort of showing good faith, saying, hey, look, we're already willing to pay you above what you're probably worth in an arbitration agreement. Let's get something bigger done. Or maybe this is just me with my conspiracy hat on, trying to put pieces together that aren't actually there. The world may never know. I do think it's kind of interesting, and we've seen this before, right? This shouldn't take him out of extension conversations, and it definitely won't. Rafael Devers is a prime example of that. He signed an arbitration deal and then pretty immediately signed an extension afterwards. So this is something to pay attention to. In my opinion, if you're going to take anything out of this video, you need to take this out of this video, and that is the Red Sox and Garrett Crochet are officially in the room talking about him being here long term. Another player to avoid arbitration and get his deal done with the Boston Red Sox was Kutter Crawford, who just this afternoon settled with the Red Sox on a 1-year, $2.75 million deal. Honestly, I don't think we really need to have any sort of extension conversation about Kutter, at least not yet. He's in a similar boat to Tanner Houck with a little bit more of a control over him. He's really not going to be a free agent until he's, 33, I think, if I'm doing my math correctly. So this is a guy who I don't really know is someone that you really need to focus on when it comes to, hey, now that he's in the arbitration process, does this open the door to an extension? Maybe if you can get it really, really cheap. But with the Red Sox and the situation they have in their rotation right now, Kutter Crawford is kind of a mystery man when it comes to his role in 2025, right? We don't really know what he's going to be for this Red Sox team. Are they going to go 6-man? Is he going to be in the bullpen? Is Giolito going to be in the bullpen, right? There are a whole lot of questions surrounding Kutter's role on the Red Sox. I'm not entirely sure this is exactly the right point for them to go out there and give him a long-term deal, and I think most fans would agree with that. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. You can let me know if I am. Thing that I do want to point out about this is, like Tanner Houck, he was also pretty significantly below what he was supposed to get according to arbitration projections. He was originally projected to end up with about $750,000 more dollars than what he ended up receiving. Now, I don't know if this is something that the Red Sox planned intentionally so they could give more money to Crochet or whatever. In this conversation, I think a lot of people are going to sit there and say they're cheaping him out, right? They're trying to get him for as low as humanly possible. Folks, that is the definition of this arbitration process, right? Yes, every team in Major League Baseball is trying to pay as little amount of money as humanly possible for all of these players. It's just how baseball works. It's how this arbitration process works. This isn't the Red Sox nickel and diming these guys. This is just the system itself. So I'm not going to take too much stock into the fact that these guys are underpaid. Now, there is one very important name the Red Sox currently have in this arbitration process that I think a lot of people are curious about, right? They need to know what's going on with Jarren Duran, and there's a reason he's in this thumbnail, and it's not because he got a deal done, at least not at the time of this recording. As of right now, according to Alex Spear, the latest is that the Red Sox and Jarren Duran can't come to some agreement. Now, this isn't an immediate panic. Everything's going wrong. Jarren Duran wants more, and the Red Sox are going to pay him. The Red Sox are being cheap. We don't need to start the narratives just yet. They do have until 8 p.m. tonight to figure out an agreement with Jarren Duran. I don't know if there's something else in the works. I doubt it. I think we'd hear more about that. I don't think the Red Sox are going to try and nickel and dime Duran. However, I think that right now that is a distinct possibility, and that is a very scary thing. He is the one person missing from this list. I would imagine Jarren Duran, especially coming off of the season he had last year and what he's built up over the last couple of years, rightfully values himself pretty highly amongst major league players. He should. The Red Sox should value him highly amongst major league players. He deserves to get paid for what he's been able to do. There's not really any signs that there's going to be any huge regression coming over the next year with Jarren Duran's game. So I bet that's a really big reason as to why they haven't signed Jarren Duran yet. It's probably because that number's probably going to be higher than any of the other contracts that were signed today. So there is still hope that by 8 p.m. tonight Eastern time, he gets a deal done. If not, like I said, things could get a little bit wonky, right? Everything starts to break down, or I'm not going to say everything or every time, because it's not every time. Players go to arbitration all the time and they still have solid relationships with their team, but sometimes with these bigger names, it can deteriorate a relationship, and I would hate to see that happen between the Red Sox and Jarren Duran. Now, when it comes to extensions, honestly, I have no idea what they're thinking on that front. I don't know if they really need to extend Duran right now, considering he's not going to be a free agent until he's 33 years old. You still have a few years left to control with him. I believe it's 4, including this season, so you do have some time with him on your team. Maybe they're thinking about doing something, but we would have probably, again, heard that already, so I'm not going to put that out there as fact if there's nothing else to base it on. So yeah, a little nerve-wracking, but not completely out of the realm of possibility just yet. Nothing to panic about just yet. If he does sign a 1-year contract or anything else, I guess, I will certainly let you guys know if it's anything big. We'll make a second video. Overall, arbitration, it's confusing. It feels like you're kind of nickel and diming all of these guys, right? Doesn't feel great trying to get the lowest price possible, but the biggest things to take away from this video are 3 things. 1, the Red Sox were able to get any pitcher that is under arbitration signed. That's a great thing. 2, maybe the biggest one, Garrett Crochet and the Red Sox have started contract extensions. That needs to happen. That needs to get done. It's a good sign that they are prioritizing it. Yes, there are going to be people who say they're not going to pay him a fair share. They've been pretty good lately, the Red Sox, at signing players in arbitration to longer-term deals. Devers, Whitlock, Bayo, Rafaela, right? I'm talking recent history here, not over the last 5 years. Recently, they've been a little bit better at it. Hopefully that trend continues with Crochet. And the third thing is we still have no news on Duran, and that scares me a little bit, but there is still time for them to figure it out. So let me know in the comments down below, what do you guys think about all this? What do you think about the deals that did get done? What do you think about the deals that didn't get done? What do you think about the Crochet report? Whole lot of news in this episode, so let me know all your thoughts in the comment section down below. As always, if you made it to the end of this video, do me a favor, make sure you guys have hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you're new here, we talk Red Sox almost every single day. Also, make sure you guys have hit the like button on this video as well. It helps out a ton. It's the best way to let me know you're enjoying the content. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one, and I will see you in the red seats.